Let's get into the guy who was the biggest name in this entire draft here. And that's Caleb Williams, who also, based on the picture we're using, has the largest hand, or wants somebody not to talk to him. They have to talk to the hand. But
talk to the hand, the face of listen.
Now, during the scouting team meeting, the notes they had is transfer from Oklahoma. 22 had the big season Heisman, a lot of success. USC started 6-0 this year, but ended up losing five of their last 6 games. How did he deal with that adversity? He refused to speak to the media after UCLA loss, and that they said point blank that's a no-no in the Giants market. They also said he's a competitor and loves the ball. We talked about some of the mental toughness with Caleb Williams a lot during this draft. If you could take the emotional part of it out of him, he'd be an amazing prospect, and he still is a high-level prospect, obviously. But that's a huge flaw for me when you're scouting specifically for the New York Giants.
Correct.
The New York media market is part of that equation. There are a lot of the teams out there, some of the best guys that have had success here in New York have said that point blank. Like, I need to know this guy can handle New York. Not everyone can. I used the analogy before, and I'll always use it probably to the day I die, of Randy Johnson when he came to play for the Yankees. This is a guy who succeeded in Seattle, succeeded in Arizona, like one of the best lefty pitchers of his generation, if not the best, depending where you want to put him in, like Tom Glavine. But you look at what he did in his career. I mean, the man, struck people out on a regular basis, had perfect game, killed a pigeon. I mean, like, he did all kinds of amazing things. I'll never forget the pigeon. A bird went across while he was pitching and it literally hit him.
He just didn't kill the pigeon. He just sent it to another dimension.
It was crazy. Puff of feathers. But it's like he went to.
What's what happens when you throw a 108-mile fastball into a bird?
He went to New York. He could not handle it. Like, he was getting into arguments with media people on the streets of the city. Like, he could not handle it. It's not for everybody. And I think that's what they were kind of alluding to, is that we're going to talk to him. We're going to see what we got here, but this might not be the right place for him. And the fact that he ended up going to Chicago still makes me worried for him.
Yeah.
If you went to a small market, he'd been a much better shot. If I was him, I would have tried to avoid Chicago as best I can. I would have also tried to avoid New England. That's part of the problem. And Washington. It's like all these big market teams were the first ones to take a crack at him at that point there. It's like, where are you going? Unless you went to Minnesota, don't you know?
I say you had to go to Minnesota. Oh, God.
The combine interview notes they gave, I had here. I mean, Caleb Williams was asked to draw up a play that if there was just one play he had to run anytime he wanted to pass the ball, it'd be that play. But I'll tell you, dude, it was just me, or you watch that, Caleb Williams looked like the guy who was forced to show up to a birthday party that did not want to be there. Like, that's the vibe I got from him 100%. And, there's a lot of talk about him in this draft being entitled, being a guy who didn't come off well personally with some of these teams. He came off to me, and again, this is all body language. It's nothing he said. This is all speculation. But he came off like a guy who just did not want to be there. He was like Marshawn Lynching it. He was just there so he didn't get fined. And I know what the rules are about getting fined, but it's like, as far as combine interviews, I'm sure you could probably
he definitely had a bag of Skittles in his back pocket.
But that's the thing is, like, I can't imagine there is a fine if they don't go to the interviews. I think everything is voluntary 100%. They don't technically work for the NFL at this point. So, like, why even show up if you don't want to be there? I mean, Deion Sanders was notorious for the fact that he did this. And was it, correct me if I'm wrong, was it 89 he was drafted, I want to say? I think we're taking it back to the 80s now.
Something like that. I mean, it was
81, 89, 91, whatever at that point. Like, it was right into that turn of that decade. I'm going to look it up here real quick. But, 89, it was 89. He famously refused to go into meetings with different teams that he didn't think had a shot of drafting him. And if I remember right, the Giants were one of those teams, actually. And people are like, hey, they want to meet with you. And I'm like, why? They're not going to have a chance to get me. I'll be long gone before they get. It's just like, I'm not dealing with this. Point blank. which is kind of a backwards way to do it because trades happen and things do happen and people can move up and come get players they want. But that's kind of the vibe I got from Caleb Williams. Like, I don't know why I'm even here. Like, you guys have no shot of getting me. But if that's the case, then why show up?
Yeah.
Don't show up then. If you're not in it to be there, then don't show up. Because I can't imagine if we picked up on that. And I know I'm not the only one who said that. Like, I'm not trying to make myself seem like I'm the smartest person in the room and I'm the only one who thought that. If I picked up on that, isn't it reasonable to assume that the Giants also picked up on that?
Yeah, the guys that were in the room.
Yeah. So, like, you don't think they were like, they left that thing like, well, he came off like a dick. Like, why would I want him? He doesn't want to be at this meeting, let alone.
Yeah.
Like, who
for the
knows?
next
Maybe
5
the Giants
years.
offer something crazy to the Bears and say, listen, we'll give you 5 first-round picks. We really want this guy. Like, we think he's the next Peyton Manning. Like, if you thought of that as a possible scenario, you sure as hell didn't after that meeting. Like, God forbid Caleb Williams slid at all. He would have been the guy to keep on sliding, perhaps, because he just would have been pissed everybody. You know? I don't get it. I really don't. I really don't get that whole thing.
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.